It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Doom Nation, what's up? We are back in. We're not in the shack this time. I'm used to saying that. We're in the captain's quarters, and as always, it's Gags and the Captain. And thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube page. And I missed last week. That sucked.
You did.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you're an upstanding citizen.
Yes,
Can't
yes.
be involved with
the hoodlums.
miscreants.
Yes. Yep, you miscreants of the underregions,
Yeah.
the underbelly of society.
So we had a good time. You know, it's been like, what, 2 weeks since we talked
Yes.
about any politics. So
And it's
back
good
in
because
business.
over the weekend we had a great weekend, and I didn't talk or look into politics at all.
Yeah.
But you want to tell them what we're doing here today?
So when this comes out, it will be Friday, and that will be the completion of President Biden's 100 days as of being president, right? And when he was inaugurated, we did a podcast called The 100 Days, and we promised you we'd come back
In
and give you
100 days.
a status update, or we're going to give him his report card for the first 100 days, and we're going to rehash some of the goals that we talked about back then, and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah. Should we just start off by telling everybody, I kind of told you so?
It's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a couple of my points in there that
yeah.
will surprise.
Yeah,
you.
50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't found anything star-studded and stellar that was so great about him.
That doesn't surprise me.
when I started searching like Biden's first 100 days, the news article headlines were amazing.
Yeah, that's why I immediately told you. I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, go back and rewatch our podcast and just write down what we said were the goals, and then we'll figure out.
We'll move from there.
We'll move from there.
But dude, it was all like how Biden reshaped America in under 100 days. Okay.
Propaganda.
Yeah,
Propaganda.
There was one that I found today, but I didn't find time to read it. CNN basically gave Biden a report card on CNN of like his first 100 days. This thing was like 20 pages long. First off, it was just this huge thing. They gave like every little number of his, blah blah blah. Like it was such bullshit. But I didn't.
No one even has time.
Yeah, I didn't get to read it. One thing that was interesting, I have the link to it. We could maybe bring it up later. But the Washington Post said they're taking heat over it. They said that they're no longer going to fact check Biden after his 100 days in office.
Yes, I saw that. They removed the fact check part of the presidential
Yeah.
fact check from the website.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they said, well, in his first 100 days, he's only lied 500 times compared to Trump's 5,000 times. You really scrutinizing this guy this hard? Because the entire Georgia voting
that was
situation,
one lie after another.
he didn't speak a word of truth through the entire time.
Here's the thing: lies are now like
The truth.
subjective.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right word? I don't even know. But someone could actually be lying, but because you agree with him,
Yeah,
it's
real.
not a lie anymore.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, if it's
The truth is subjective.
Yeah, if the
Like,
most
that word might
if
not
the
make
most
sense.
virtuous person believes the lie and you believe them, you
Yes.
were too virtuous and you were speaking the truth.
Yes, we're living in the upside down.
Yeah.
As we said.
Then Hunter Biden teaching a class on fake news.
Yes. Isn't that
It's just as crazy as Kamala Harris and Bill Clinton going to a women's convention to talk about women's empowerment.
yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein they just came out with pictures of Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein in the White House in Clinton's second year as president. Year two, he was going to Pedophile Island, and nobody cares.
You're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. You know that picture is a deep fake. It's they edited Trump's face to look like Bill Clinton's face.
Yeah, there was a picture of Trump with.
Yep,
with
I've never
Epstein, too.
denied that.
Yeah,
Never
Epstein was a
denied it.
powerful dude.
Yeah.
You know, he had his hands in the cookie jar everywhere.
Yeah, Trump was a billionaire. Epstein was a
right.
billionaire. They
Who
crossed paths. Yeah.
All right.
On the track now.
Yeah, let's get into this. You want to start with one of your points, or you want me to pick off one of my points first?
You're a bit in depth, so let's see. You want to start with the troops unifying? What was a quick one here?
You know what? I'll start with this one.
What's that?
Right off the bat, in our last 100-day podcast, one of the first things we talked about was the pipeline being canceled.
Oh, okay.
And you know, we weighed the benefits and the negatives of it. But I don't want to get into all that again. I'm just going to make one quick point. Gas prices back then, the January 21st average was $2.42 a gallon. It is now $2.94 a gallon. Just putting that out there.
3 months.
Yep.
So 3 months, and it's gone up that much. It's insane that just like by the presidential policy, like our gas is just shooting up like that.
I think we've said that before. That
yeah.
doesn't even make any sense.
No.
How could one guy have so much
like just
power over one specific thing?
why isn't like the gas station like picking the price? You know what I mean? like I know it's for the price of oil and stuff like that, but I feel like there's just such this sway over it.
I think it's speculation. Like it's a very like Wall Street speculative thing. Like they speculate over like, well, this guy's not going to be friendly towards, you know, fossil fuel, so we got to raise the price now because it's going to go up in the future. You know what I mean? Like
It's funny now.
maybe I'm wrong.
Now fossil fuel is more expensive, but now we have to pay more in well, not yet. It didn't start yet, but the Green New Deal, we're part of it. You know, he said we were. That was one of his accomplishments.
Yeah.
But
look, you know, the gas is more expensive now, right? You tell me how that's going to make the Earth less climate changey.
Yeah,
You know? It's not.
It's going to scare people to start driving Priuses or start taking the bus, which it's not.
Like I want to buy a Tesla, they're super expensive, and my electricity in my house is so expensive. I couldn't even. It'd be more expensive to pay for that than it would for gas. So like, please somehow explain to me how paying more for stuff is going to make things better, innovate, right? Make technology better, more efficient, more affordable, and that will let people be able to buy a Tesla, etc.
Which is very true, but also on top of it, what are we really doing here? Like, if we both bought Teslas, it'd be awesome, and like we wouldn't be polluting as much, and we wouldn't have to pay the price for gas. But look at like China, India, and Russia, like what they're polluting into the world.
Yeah, there's on an individual level, we're only responsible for so much. There's nothing me and you can do to change the climate change. Really, I have a compost pile. Is that going to change the world? No.
Just makes feeding the chickens easier.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go on to the next point, which is my second point, but it's also your point. And I wrote this down, and I said, Cap said, we're going to find out very quickly that there's nothing unifying about this administration. I mean, I agree.
And what did I wrote? I said the administration wouldn't be unifying, and we've already seen it on the $1 trillion relief package. So that's something he checked off that he did promise in the first time. We'll talk about that. But they passed that with zero GOP support. The most unifying president in the history of America spent $1 trillion without an entire party agreeing on it.
Yeah.
That's not unifying. Even like you were saying, like in the last podcast about like the progressive and the Bernie people, they haven't gotten anything either.
No.
He's not even being unifying with them.
And he's not. And what's fascinating with that is that the squad, the progressives in Congress, etc., have completely capitulated now to Biden and the corporate Democrats. AOC the other day said that Biden's done like a great job and is doing everything perfectly. And as I've said so many times on this podcast, like socialist Twitter, the progressive Twitter, is at least aware they've made an error in the cult of personality politics. That doesn't get you anywhere because AOC is pretty and she's smart and she's nice, because Bernie talks a good game, etc. That is not going to get you anywhere just worshiping a person. You have to hold these people's feet to the fire because, I don't agree with all the socialists, but they put AOC in there to kind of like burn down the system, and now she has been absorbed by the system.
Oh, yeah.
So
you know why?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, go.
They underestimated, and AOC underestimated just how much the establishment was willing to pay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you want a new Benz, and here's $10 million. Just go along with this.
I think it maybe not even that. It becomes maybe like you realize the only way I'm going to get anything done here is by working with these people.
I think it's yes,
You rationalize you justify it to yourself.
To a certain point, maybe in like AOC's shoes, since they're so new, like, yeah, maybe she kind of did one or two things because she's like, it's probably just better to work with these people. But eventually, I would believe they found her price. Whereas somebody who, like, you got to look at like Schumer or somebody who, like, just somebody who oozes like corruption almost sometimes.
Right.
Like, they do it for like the straight power and the name.
Them two specifically work together very closely now. And I fully believe that there was a conversation had of, look, I'm an old guy. I'm not going to be here very much longer, but work with me. Bring your popularity and your influence in with me, and let's work together. And when I do get out of here and I do retire, I will 100% back you to be the new, majority leader or whatever. Right? I mean, come on, that's a good big position there. Yeah. Right? She's working close with the guy now for on a lot of issues. So is that too far fetched? No.
That might be something we will be saying. I told you so one day. But yeah,
one of the things I found so funny about the unifying thing and how Biden has not been unifying whatsoever, I wrote down here that he hasn't done anything to appease Republicans. The only way you're going to be unifying is if you do something that people that don't like you want you to do. And not only has he not done anything to appease Republicans or MAGA people, right? And I said in the recent podcast, the 100 Days one, that one of the things he could have done was the border stuff.
Yeah, could have met him in the middle.
Give him the token, I will fix the border. Not only has he not done that, he's done the complete opposite, and the border situation has exploded, which we've covered at length. And it's even more funny, right? Because not only is it out of control, but he's actually started rebuilding the wall, but not selling it as he's giving an olive branch to Republicans. Right. He's hiding the fact that he's building the wall, right? So even from like a political gamesmanship,
he's not gaining anything.
He's not doing a good job even in that. Listen, you have to restart. In his mind, I guess you have to restart border wall construction to try and stop the illegal tide of immigration. So at least tell Republicans, look, I'm doing what you guys wanted. I'm building the wall. But he's not even doing that.
Yeah, they can't. We're in the portion right now where like there's still so much hatred for Trump and what he did that like there is just absolutely no shining chance that like the Republican Party will ever get any type of popular good like press. You know what I mean? Like
no, not in the mainstream. No.
Yeah, so that's why it's not even coming across like that because they wouldn't even air it. They would never let him say it. This is why they don't let him take questions.
His handlers, right?
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that's an error.
It is. No, right? I completely agree.
If you want to unify people, look, you had to restart border wall construction. Spin it to MAGA people. Look, I did what you wanted.
Yeah, we're gonna have a wall.
I'm gonna work together. I did this because it was what you guys wanted.
Well, I think
even if it wasn't, say that at least.
Yeah, I think he was only finishing what was left to finish. Like if there was like a whole nother section like B of the wall,
tomato. Yeah. You use it in your favor to unify people, and he doesn't. He's that bad at being president. He don't even do that.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Right.
You know why they don't want to talk about the wall? Because then they would have to admit that there's a problem at the border.
Right.
We're already being told if you say there's a surge at the border, you're racist. This is right. They're handing out Kamala Harris's.
That's not true.
It's not.
No, that was completely fake news.
But they asked her. No, they asked the press secretary.
That was one book. I looked into it before, I figured we'd probably talk about it. So that was one book that just happened to be on the backpack of a kid in California somewhere. And somebody took a picture with it, and everybody ran with it, saying,
that's whack.
It's they're giving out the books. They're not giving out the books. It's just that backpack happened to have that book. Maybe, I think it was like Goodwill or something.
I don't know.
I'm saying I looked into it. Like Goodwill was giving out just books to kids in the detention centers or whatever.
Her top seller in Goodwill.
One of the books just happened to be Kamala Harris's book.
Maybe I'll drop that subject. It's not as important, but she's gone like 30 plus days without like addressing the border since she's been put in charge.
Makes no sense.
They're not talking about this because they don't want to admit that there's some form of an issue at the border.
No, I agree.
Yeah. And it's
That's
mayhem.
How this operation,
it's just mayhem.
This administration operates that way. They hide information.
Yeah, if you don't think kids are in cages right now, you're only playing yourself.
Yeah. They are. They always have.
They're living under bridges out there.
All right, let's move on to one of the next points. Which one? You want to go on to one of yours?
Do you have anything about the WHO?
No. I left that for you. I saw you had something.
Yeah, I
about
mean, so one of the things that we knew Joe Biden was going to do was rejoin the WHO and the World Health Organization, and he did. And this is one of these 100-day layup shots, you know, the little fluff piece for him. Because how hard was it really for him to rejoin the WHO? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that.
so in his
Stroke
first,
of a pen.
yeah, in his first, I think you mentioned that in one of your notes that like you signed a bunch of executive orders and you said these executive orders were your goals. So like, how hard is it really to accomplish this stuff?
Right. That the whole like premise. We're talking about this, right? Because this is what we do when we talk about 100-day goals. But when you think about it, the whole like premise of these are my 100-day goals and I'm setting them because in 100 days this is what I'm going to do. And then you say that and then you go the next day to your office and you take a pen and you write down something and that changes the law and you say, look, I accomplished my goals. Is that really a goal?
Yeah,
that's not really a thing.
Yeah, you just
then.
put a law
It's
into
all
yeah.
it's and it's not just Biden that does this.
Oh,
It's
no.
every president has done this, right? So one thing I've learned of paying attention to 100-day goals is the whole thing is a made-up propaganda piece. Yeah.
Because nobody comes through on them. Right. No one.
It's not even that no one comes through on them. It's just that it's literally from start to finish a propaganda piece. This is what I'm going to do, and then you go write a thing, and that has been done now.
Yeah,
you
and you don't
actually,
even
accomplish anything.
You don't even see a 100-day goal would be to like he wanted to reopen the schools, and you didn't open the schools.
Spoiler warning. Yeah, that was one of our points.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
that. So flat out, that was one of the goals we talked about. His plan was to safely reopen all schools. Failed.
Yeah.
Then the next 2 days, it's not going to happen. But by the time this comes out, so that's a complete fail right there.
But that's the type of goal you set. Something that is going to reshape America, help America. Not there's a new law on the books.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for the most part, all these executive orders, people do feel them. There is someone who is affected by them. But not every American is you know what I mean? Like, just because you achieved this goal doesn't mean that me and you feel the effects of this new law that went into effect. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're these little easy layup shots. But regardless, he rejoined the World Health Organization. We have proof that they take money from the CCP.
Yeah, I mean, they basically are.
Yeah. And right after, you know, Biden said that he was going to rejoin, they changed their COVID testing procedures.
For what counts as a positive test.
Yeah. So now positive numbers are going to... So we're only doing this to hurt one person and help another person, and nobody's going to hold anyone accountable for this because we can do whatever we want in the upside down world. You know? That always just shocked me. But that was one of his little layups that, you know, were easily done. You know, and nobody feels the effects of that now.
Yeah, he portrayed rejoining an organization as a 100-day goal, and then the next day he called them up, and said, "Hey, we're back in."
Yeah,
I did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me go on to my next point, which when I was re-listening to our episode, my ears went up, right, because we mentioned Dave Smith.
Yep.
And
that was who we were listening to this weekend, right?
Right, right, and who just made some news himself. So I was like, look at this. We were going to talk about this, and Dave Smith around the same time happens to make news again. So we mentioned Dave Smith. He's a comedian. He's also a libertarian. And he made a point on the Joe Rogan podcast about like diversity training, microaggressions, and wokeness being installed throughout government and at like corporations. And basically Biden has done that. Right, he's been like checking the woke boxes throughout the government, you know. And I have an example here.
I have one.
My example is nominating the first black Secretary of Defense. Right, great, black guy in charge. You know, power to black people, etc. But they've, extended how long the war in Afghanistan is going to be. They've upped the attacks in Syria. So, yay, diversity, but at the same time, they're blowing up poor brown people in another country.
Yep.
And that was the point that Dave Smith was making that we were talking about. And I just wanted to also point out, because I'm getting on the train now, right? If Dave Smith has said he's seriously considering running for president as a libertarian, right? He's considering it, right? And I have never taken the libertarians seriously ever, but if he does it, I'm going to take it seriously because he's like the right guy, I feel, to do it. He's smart. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to explain the libertarian position clearly that everyone can understand it. So check it out. Check him out. Dave Smith. I think his Twitter is @ComicDaveSmith, and his podcast is called Part of the Problem. He does episodes like every other day. Very, very good stuff. Very smart guy. he would make an ideal candidate for president.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I didn't see his news, so. What else do we got here? Let me go through some of yours. Dave Smith, rejoining the Who, that was one. We're still doing, we still got masks.
yeah. Look, I have
We
here.
still-
We in this podcast we criticize Biden for not wearing a mask on federal property because he made a executive order saying you had to wear a mask on all federal property. So we criticize him for not following his rule. Now he won't take the mask off ever.
Even in a Zoom meeting with other world leaders, he sat there in a room with a mask.
Yeah.
It almost makes me feel like, was that really Joe Biden in there? Like, or was it just some guy that kind of looks like Joe Biden in a mask on with like a script? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And another part to that is he made a 100-day masking challenge as one of his goals. What a bullshit fucking goal, to make. 100-day masking challenge. I'm challenging Americans to wear a mask as part of my 100-day goal. Dude, what?
Yeah. Nothing.
You're the president. What are you talking about? You could have just said, listen, I think it's smart for you to wear a mask.
Yeah.
He made a goal, a literal 100-day goal, a challenge to people to wear a mask more.
Yeah.
That what a bogus.
And if one person doesn't do it, the whole goal fails.
Right.
Like,
right. What
you
are
know
we
what I mean?
talking about here
And
exactly?
on top of it, here we are 100 days later. And what did the CDC announce this week? That if you're vaccinated, you could go outside alone without a mask on.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's not doing that still. Himself, Biden. He's outside all the time with the mask on.
Oh
by
yeah,
himself,
I know.
Hundreds
When he was
of
in
feet
the
away
when he
from
was in
people.
the cemetery.
And he just did it like yesterday. He walked up to a podium in the outside, hundreds of feet away from other people, has his mask on. Dude, why?
Yeah.
Maybe you should start following those your own rules.
Yeah. It just.
The CDC guidance.
But you know what's funny though? Like every time Trump didn't wear a mask, everybody lost their shit. You know what I mean? Like, and now like we're losing our shit. Like, just take it off.
Yes.
Like,
And to be fair, I thought it was a little weird that Trump didn't wear a mask ever. He was doing the opposite. He was doing the whole like, I'm a macho man. I don't need to wear a mask because a mask it's all. You know what I mean? Like he was doing theatrics from the other point of view. When I'm here, I'm just like, could you guys just start wearing the fucking mask when you should be and when you shouldn't be? So like you're in a hospital with a whole bunch of people, put the mask on. You're in a park in the middle of nowhere with no one around, take the mask off. What's going on?
No, he was just telling me something. But the funny thing is today, Biden was outside without. He went up to the podium and he took a mask off, and the reporter wasted his one question on. So, Biden, what type of message are you sending that you came over here and took your mask off?
That's a good question.
And Biden was like, he's like, well, don't worry about it. You'll see me keep it off until I go inside and put it back on.
Okay.
You talking about the Zoom call? Yeah, I said that before when he was on the phone with all the world leaders.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Somebody made a good meme of that, and it was of Biden. It was of Putin making fun of him.
Oh yeah, where he was just talking shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great.
All right.
But so anyway, 100 days. If you're vaccinated, you could walk outside without a mask on. Yeah, over 1 million people vaccinated, and we still gotta walk around alone.
Yeah, it's the fact
You
that
put it pretty well the other day. Was it Dave Smith? They were like the vaccine's here, the pandemic's over.
it's over.
Like
Right.
choose what
Yes,
you want to
this
do.
was Dave Smith. Dave Smith had the point. The vaccine is not only here now, but it's available for everybody.
Yeah,
So now we're at the crossroads where everyone has the ability to get the vaccine. They can go get it. And if they want to go get it, God bless, go get it. But if they don't want to go get it, then that's on that person.
Yeah,
that
that's
person
it. That's
is
where it ends.
completely aware of the risk that they could get COVID and die. And that's on them, and they have to now live with that risk, and they're comfortable with that risk. But the people who are vaccinated.
Yeah.
Right? So they're safe. So what do they care if the other people are not vaccinated? If you're scared that one of those unvaccinated people could get you sick, then go get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And you'll be
I
fine.
never
So
understood why. Like,
that's it. Right. It's
why
over.
every kid in the school had to be vaccinated. If 99 kids out of 100 kids are vaccinated, the one kid can't do anything.
Yeah, like you mean like for those old vaccines or whatever?
Yeah, for the school and shit. It just doesn't
Even
make
that,
sense.
Like, those vaccines have a long history of testing and safety.
Well,
et
at least
cetera.
at least they're not experimental, and at least
Right.
they do have, there is a history of like facts about them. We
Right.
don't know what's going to happen with this.
Right. Stop trying to force on every single person a new thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you're happy, if you just like the people that are willing to take the risk of getting COVID, if you're willing to take the risk of getting the vaccine, I'm not telling you not to do
Yeah.
it. Go ahead, take
Yeah.
the risk.
Actually, since we're talking about the vaccine, you have a point here.
5 million people have been vaccinated.
Yeah. I got it. One of my points later.
We you have the FEMA one to
So
facilitate the vaccines,
sure. You want me to get into that?
or
Because this is going to be one where I actually give Biden some credit of hitting a goal that was actually a real goal. And
what
it was
the 100 million?
the FEMA
Oh, okay,
one.
go for it.
So one of the goals that we talked about was Biden directed FEMA to create federally supported community vaccination centers. And at the time, I said that was a good idea. Like, if you're going to make a goal to vaccinate a shit ton of people, you got to get all hands on deck. And, like, logistically, that's difficult.
Yeah, probably a smarter thing to do.
to do. Just logistically, like, getting these items into people. You need, like, everybody.
Yeah.
So he directed FEMA to do this, and I looked on the FEMA website, and it says that as of March 19th, FEMA and its federal partners have supported President Biden's January 20th goal of administering 100 million vaccinations. The milestone was met 42 days ahead of the 100-day goal, and the website goes on to break down exactly what these vaccination centers that he was talking about in his goal are, showing how they did it and that they did it.
Right.
So I'll give Biden some credit. He tasked FEMA with again creating a federally supported community of vaccination centers, and they did it. So there you go. I'll give him credit for that.
I'll
That
give
one
him
was
credit, but we were curious if this was a set the bar low type of goal, and it was reached 42 days ahead of schedule.
done. Yes, right. I agree, but
But it did work the way he wanted it to. So
yes. The
But
website
now,
goes to
so
break.
now
You
the
wanna
point
look-
is more people than 100 million have been vaccinated. Right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
that's my next point. Where let's see, where was that point I had at? That was another point of ours that we talked about. Was yes, him setting the goal. Sorry, folks. Here we are. Right. So his goal was to get 100 million vaccines into people, which we talked about in our podcast. And it was accomplished, right? As of today, 232 million vaccines have been administered, and that's 96.7 million people in the United States have been totally vaccinated, like both shots. Remember, there's like 300 and something million.
320.
So he did hit that goal. We were arguing even back then that we felt like the bar was being set low of 100 million, which I mean it kind of was.
It was,
right,
but
because
he
they
got
now
over-
completely more than doubled what they. I mean,
Well, or did he fail it at 98 million people totally vaccinated?
but the thing is, his goal was to get 100 million vaccines into
people.
not
So,
to
yeah,
get 100
mission
million.
accomplished.
Right. It's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm going to give Biden credit for this. They did it. It's not easy to just pull off the logistical components of such a thing. You could disagree with me. I don't care.
No, I don't. I don't really. I'm glad to see people are getting vaccinated because it's going to eventually get interesting. So, to people who are totally vaccinated is at like 96 million people, right? That's what it said.
96.7. That's
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
So eventually it's going to be 150 million people. And eventually it's going to be something like close to 200 million people. You really mean to tell me the last 120 million people need to take it?
No, theoretically at that point we would have reached herd immunity. At the same time, too, there's just a common sense argument of like those people are fine with the risk.
Yeah.
So the vaccine is available. If you're scared of COVID, go take the vaccine.
If you become
I'm
scared-
telling you, go take
Yeah.
it.
Or, you could take the heat like Joe Rogan for saying young healthy people
Right.
don't need to take it.
I'm
Unbelievable.
not saying that. I'm saying
Yeah.
go take it. I'm not Joe Rogan. Don't cancel me.
Yeah, no, we're good on that. We ain't him. What else do we... Yeah,
You want to go back to your own points? I mean, I got
Yeah.
points for days here. Bro.
I know I've just been reading off of yours.
That's what happens when you don't have a job. You have time
Yeah.
to make a lot of podcast points.
Let's talk about how Biden was shockingly able to get that $1 trillion stimulus plan out there. We didn't get the $2,000 checks. I think you all know that, people.
Yeah. So yes, I mean that was a goal of his, right?
And he crushed it. So
We even said, even in our podcast, we said there's three things that he can't executive order. So this is one of the
Yeah.
three things. He couldn't executive order the $1.9 trillion stimulus thing. Right?
God knows he would have tried if he could.
It's still an accomplishment, in my opinion.
It is.
He did it, right? Because it's not easy to pass a bill ever. In
Well,
our
It's much
government.
easier when you don't need the other side to
that's
agree
true.
with you.
That is true, but it's still not easy, right?
Yep.
You still have your Joe Manchin who throws a wrench into
Yeah.
everything. But let's use some nuance here, right? They did pass the bill. They wanted $200 billion to go to the vaccines. They did that. Biden said that a $15 minimum wage was part of the goal. They didn't do that, right? They came up with some bullshit excuse of the parliamentarians said it wouldn't be appropriate to put a law about the minimum wage increase in a spending bill. Okay.
Yeah, just
You
like
know, that was the only time anyone's ever heard of the parliamentarian or them
Yeah.
objecting to something like
Nice.
that. It just happened to be something that people actually wanted.
Yeah. Well, God forbid we help
Yeah.
anyone.
They extended the unemployment. That's good because bums like me could keep
Use
having
that.
a job. They got 1,400 stimulus done. You know, it wasn't 2,000, but they did. He did say 1,400. And they extended the earned income tax credit. Those were all things we mentioned.
Yeah.
In
So
the past podcast.
so minus the fact that it was just a giant transfer of wealth. Good job, Biden. I mean, you got it done. Like, you know what I mean?
We did say how they were saying $1 trillion of the 1.9 was supposed to go to people. It did for the most part.
Yeah.
I went back and verified, and for the most,
Okay.
it didn't go back in sense of like straight into my pocket, direct like stimulus, but you know, it went to like the unemployment, the stimulus,
Yeah, extending the
like WIC, things like that. So like 1 trillion of it did go back to people,
right.
and the other 900 billion went to whatever.
Yeah, to gender studies.
Right.
I don't think I'll ever forget that one in my life.
Yeah, that was one of the more bizarre ones.
Another thing that I saw, you have that Mexico City policy. We talked about it and how
Right.
this has just stupidly been ping-ponged back and
Yes.
forth for the past 35 years.
Brief re-explanation: the Mexico City policy is a policy that I think Reagan put in place. We talked about this on the last the 100-day podcast, where any money sent to foreign countries by the United States couldn't be used to fund abortions in those countries. It was rumored at the time we did the podcast that Biden was going to rescind it. Nothing had actually happened yet at the time we did the podcast. So I went back and I looked, and Biden rescinded the order, I believe, 8 days after we did our podcast.
Nice.
So now
He waited for us.
Yes, he did. He knew. So now American taxpayer money that goes to, let's say, Mexico for healthcare and family planning, etc., can be used to pay for Mexican women's abortions. I mean, and we said this in the previous episode, I'm pro-choice.
Yeah.
I feel like if you want to get an abortion, like Oprah, you get one,
Yeah.
whatever. You could get one if you want. It's not my place to tell a woman what she can and can't do, but it is my place where where my tax money goes, to do. I don't
That's
see
so
the
like
point of why we need to
nefarious,
fund
man.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to take his money?
Right. If Mexican women want to
Yeah.
get abortions, go ahead. But why do I have to pay for it?
Yeah. And the next time we have a Republican president,
He'll undo it.
yeah.
Right.
It must be such like around election time in those like clinics for whoever works, they must not know which way's up, because like one day they're aborting babies, the next day it's against the law. Like,
That's fucked up, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That policy will probably ping pong for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
Until maybe like there's some sort of thing that you don't need to do an abortion.
An at-home
anymore.
abortion kit?
I don't know. Yeah. Or like, maybe we're so technologically advanced that you could like think about getting rid of your
Jesus
baby.
Christ.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like
the future of abortion. Let's stop talking about that.
Sorry. This
Yeah.
will be ping pong for the next, probably
Yeah,
100 years.
billions of
so.
years, as long as America stands. So something that Joe Biden couldn't write into, I guess he couldn't write it into law. We're going to go into the schools not reopening. And I'm glad I don't have kids right now. I really am glad. I've talked to people who have kids, and there are some parents that I know that are like, you're going to, like, if I have to work from home, you're sitting in front of that and you're getting straight A's, like, and they're whooping their kids into shape. And the teachers are on the other side. I know there's plenty of teachers out there that are trying their hardest.
Oh, yeah.
But there are also teachers out there that are using this to just, I'm getting paid, who cares? and there's also kids. Like we said on the last
Mm-hmm.
100 days. Yeah, I would look like I'm there, but Xbox would be on in the back. Like
There's your Eric Cartmans,
Yeah.
right? Who are, putting a picture of them sitting in front of the, computer, in front of the computer, so it looks like they're sitting there, but they're really off dicking around with their friends.
Yeah. So I mean, I people are losing out, and I think Nick was telling us on the Nick Giordano episode that schools were going to open up sometime in April, like this month or whatever. And he was like, "Big whoop!" It was like 6.5 weeks of like school that like,
over.
and they would have been allowed to say like, it.
Here's
So strange, and I'm gonna rant quick. It's just I don't. I mean, I do get why, but like, if the teachers union really doesn't want to go back to school, like, at what point does like the school start like, like the people who break the picket lines where they hire someone around them like temporary,
hire
like
new teachers. It's not like anybody could just be a teacher.
there are a lot of people that are out of work. There's
I'll go
probably
teach
plenty of
shit.
teachers that are out of work and stuff. But like these teachers unions, like I don't understand because I find it hard to believe there might be a various reason behind it, but I'm sure there could be. Like you're the teachers union. Why don't you want to get back to school and teach these kids and do what you do? You know what I mean?
I'm sure some of them don't feel safe because they're terrified of COVID. Although there's a vaccine now.
But if you
some
go
of
to
them
a
probably also selfishly just don't want to go back. They're probably in Florida,
Yeah.
which we've heard of. They're teaching from home in Florida.
but private schools are back in business. You know what I mean? Like you have the choice and stuff like that. But
right, it's more. I guess you could say it's more so of like the public schools are the ones that are like not back. Most of them, and the private ones are.
yeah, and the rich get richer.
And
Like,
here's the thing. The point I'm gonna make. You could say that demographically, who's in those public schools more so? The minorities, the African Americans, the Hispanics, right? Their children are now getting a second-rate education.
and only learning about critical race theory.
Even right on top of that,
Yeah.
while the private schools, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say that they're mostly white, mostly richer people.
Upper middle class, upper class.
Their kids are now in school getting a better education to begin with, right? But probably because those schools are, are more expensive, etc. And now on top of it, now double that. Now they're getting a better education, and they're actually in school getting a better education than the minority kids, right? So now you have a scenario where you've created a gap between race, class, even further, right? And my point here is going to be, who's in charge of those areas mostly where these the minority communities are going to school?
I'm going to go
Our
out
buddies,
on a,
right?
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Democratic Party.
So let's say 5 to 10 years from now, right?
Ooh, I have a good point too when you're done.
5 to 10 years from now, when there's a critical race theory study done saying there's systemic racism in schools because like African Americans, Latinos, etc., are don't have the same level of education as white people do. They're going to point to racism.
Yeah.
And they're going to point to Republicans, and they're going to point to the boogeyman. They're going to point to me and you because we're white guys. And they're going to say, this is your fault. This is America's fault. America is a racist country. No, motherfucker. This is your fault.
Yep.
You're the one who put this policy in place. You're the ones who kept these black kids out of school for that long, causing this discrepancy in their education. They are going to create the inequality they always, are preaching about fixing.
Yeah. That's what I've said they've been doing with systematic racism. Because Nick kind of made a really good point where he's like, there is systematic racism, but he's like, where do you ever see it? Put somebody in a KKK costume and let him walk across any campus in any state, gonna get his ass beat. Any basketball game, any baseball game, any theater, any shopping mall you go to, it's a mix of people. Yes, there are those small little southern towns where there's 2-3 black families in it, but proportionately, anywhere you go in America, it's a mix, and no one has a problem.
On the ground level of normal human beings, everybody gets along.
So we've been seeing that the left has been putting systematic racist action into law. They're making these laws racist on purpose.
They're creating inequality through their decisions.
Yes, since there's no real solid systematic racism, they're making it, And now here they're working on two ends. They're making the laws now. And so when this becomes an issue, look at all these laws. Look at how racist all these laws are, because no one's going to remember in a generation from now that who put them in.
Amnesia, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't them. Yeah,
Yeah, like it's been here forever.
Bro, the Democrats were literally the party of slavery back in the day. They were the ones that were Jim Crow, and they were the ones who were. It was Lincoln, a Republican, who freed the slaves, not a Democrat.
What's the amendment for freeing the slaves? What, the 14th?
14th, yeah.
Yeah, and well, Biden said no.
Hey, maybe it's maybe it's a dog whistle. You know what they say? He's the dog whistling. No amendment is
is absolute.
Is absolute. Maybe he's dog whistling to his racist buddies.
Yeah.
That we're gonna get rid of the. We're saying that tongue in cheek, but at the same time, is it?
Listen, if Trump said there was, nothing was absolute, you would see the most patriotic people rise from the grounds and, burn Washington to the ground.
Literally, could you imagine if Trump said no amendment is absolute?
They might as well go up there and draw the little Hitler mustache on him. Yeah. They wouldn't even call him Trump anymore. They just call him Hitler. Yeah.
What more needs to be said, honestly.
It's the truth. There's a new subsection of people that I don't like anymore, and I got
new one. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of subsections.
Well, no. I got I was a Trump guy, but I criticized him. I didn't criticize him often, but I did. There's places where I wanted to hold him accountable. Fine, it wasn't often, but I did. Now I've been seeing people who literally have from 2016, the day he took office, till November January when Biden was inaugurated, literally try to hold Trump accountable for every tweet he tweeted, every action he made. And now you have your guy in, and no one wants to hold him accountable. Mm-hmm. Listen, he's my president too, but
wow,
if he's
that's a first.
If he's fucking up, admit it. Just admit it. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to hold him accountable for anything. What?
This goes towards what you're saying, actually. Just in Washington Post has stated that they will not be fact-checking.
Oh, yeah, we just mentioned it.
Yeah, we said that at the beginning of the show, yeah.
Yeah, so yes, I agree with you, right? I feel, though, however, on the ground level of, ground levels like normal people, like me and you, and there's your liberal normal people as well. Yeah. There are some of them, as we said before, are realizing, wait, we fucked up. And, they weren't going to vote for Trump.
I don't even need you to say that you fucked up. Just, if Biden does something that's kind of shitty or kind of like a bad move, at least just admit it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I do see people that do say that, and that I only see that, though, because I follow people I don't agree with.
Right.
And this is a good point. A good time to point out, I feel like that's a good reason to follow people you don't like.
Oh, I agree.
And you don't agree with, right? Because now I'm seeing they've changed their minds, and they'll be like, even like Cenk from the Young Turks, he's starting to be like, wow, I fucked up big time. And even Cenk, man, the other day, who's super liberal, tweeted something about the masks, saying how it's like theater. Yeah. And I think I shared it on our Instagram. I was like, whoa, what?
I'm going to have to follow this guy. Yeah. See what's up.
And for a couple of years, he pissed me off with just dumb stuff. But that's why you follow people you don't like. Because look, people change their minds. People are not only, people are not rigid. Some people are rigid.
Yeah.
But not everyone is rigid.
I've been dealing with this with people I've come in contact with that just won't hold him accountable. Just don't deny reality. It wasn't a smart move. Just say it. The CIA ain't gonna come here and kick your ass because
yeah, they went to Giuliani today.
Yeah, so. Yeah, they did. The Fed he didn't have anything.
Yeah, it's hard to it's not good to just generalize everything or everybody, right?
Well, I said it's a new subset of people. I know there's plenty of people that are oh, this isn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, or I could have lasted with the tweets for 4 more years instead of this. But then there's also, and to your, to each their own, who are this is the greatest president we've ever had.
That's outrageous claim. If you think that, you're a complete fucking moron. I'm sorry.
Well, people thought Trump was the greatest ever, and
also complete fucking morons.
But there's people who are just in lockstep. This is great. Oh my, this is so much better. Is it though?
Psychologically, it's interesting.
Yeah. I feel somebody actually posted this, and it's going to be a superhero reference, but it was picture Superman, the U.S. history textbook. and then it was a picture of Homelander, and it was like the actual U.S. history.
You want a real life, like, comparison of that? Go get your U.S. history textbook, and then go get a People's History of the United States.
Your favorite
and
book.
Read both of them
Yeah.
side by side. And, you know, a People's History of the United States does not say that America is, like, inherently racist. It basically says America is inherently classist.
Yeah.
You know, pitting the races against each other to support.
If we come together, it's over.
Support, like, the structure of, like, you know, the elites, basically. Yeah. So that's something that would be interesting.
That would be pretty crazy
to do. I got another point here.
Yeah. The Census one?
I was laughing about this point. I was laughing as I was watching myself in the podcast. I was excited because I felt it seemed like life was going back to normal in the next 6 months. I may have been slightly brainwashed because I was in Florida at the time, and it seemed like everything was going back to normal. And then there was like the promise of the vaccine. And all the old people talking to me about, oh, you're going to get your shot. I'm like, wow, man, maybe, you know, like, if there's one positive to come out of this, listen, say uncle, bro, Biden, let us go back to normal. You won. You got what you wanted. But
take
boy,
the credit. Like,
was I wrong? They're still there.
Michigan is increasing. Is increasing.
The vaccine passports. They want to, you know, like they want to introduce new things that would make things not go back to normal. There's the people saying we'll never go back to normal. The Great Reset. There's Fauci. Wearing masks. There's variants. We can never go back to normal because there's always going to be. There's basically what has happened over the past couple months is I thought we were going to go back to normal.
Yeah.
But their argument has been, well, there's other risks, so we can't go back to normal.
Yeah.
Life comes with risks, right? Are we as the
I said
human
that to
being
myself the other day.
going to wear masks for the rest of our existence until
Some
the
people
sun
are.
expands and consumes the earth in billions of years? That they will be consuming all those masks that humans are still wearing.
In hundreds of years from now, millions of years from now, there's going to be a race of people that just they only have eyes and no nose and face. They're going to evolve a mask over their face.
Yeah, they'll have a built-in mask. Or COVID will just reign supreme over the planet. It'll be the dominant species.
But, I mean, I could understand why you felt like things were going to go back into normal. The vaccine was coming. Here's just another issue of moving the goalposts. We were told 2 weeks, flatten the curve. We were told quarantine and lockdowns, it'll go back to normal. We were told get the vaccine, things will go back to normal. And back then, 100 days ago.
That was 100 days ago.
100 days ago,
We're still in it.
Yeah, 100 days ago, the rule was if we get the vaccine, things go back to normal. Now it's if you get the passport, things go back to normal.
Right.
If you continue getting vaccines, things are going to go back. Fauci doesn't want anyone to get sick ever again.
Right,
It's theoretically impossible.
Not realistic, right? It'll never happen. Yeah. It's completely unrealistic.
And on top of it,
it's also that mentality is having a contradictory effect. Mm-hmm. If you're telling people that doing all this stuff is not going to make you be able to go back to normal, people are not going to do it.
That's why I'm not doing it anymore.
Right. Yeah. It makes no sense. Like the fact that if you get vaccinated and he's still walking around with the mask, yes, they did change the thing for being outside, etc., but they didn't change the thing for being inside.
No.
Right. So you're basically saying, and on top of that, the vaccine passport, you're basically saying we have a vaccine here, take it, it'll make you safe from coronavirus, but nothing goes back to normal.
Yeah, then the vaccine doesn't work then.
Right,
if you
that
can
is
still
going
get
to
sick.
deter people like yourself from getting the vaccine.
Yeah. You know, Pal has always been asking me, like, because you were always solid no. I was like, I can see. I'm a no now, like, because even if I get it, truthfully, nothing's going to change. I've actually noticed people saying they're fighting to get things to go back to normal, but they're really just fighting to keep things exactly the same.
People like it subconsciously. People like this.
I really would like to, but the answers are so shallow, and there's no real like grit to their answers. Because I would really like to have a conversation with someone and be like, okay, what needs to happen for you to stop wearing the mask? What needs to happen for you to say this is enough? Or what needs to happen for things to go back to normal? And I mean normal like 2018 normal. You know what I mean? Not a fear and most of their responses, and I know I'm generalizing people, and if you have this opinion, please come to me and talk to me about it. But most of them are just like Fauci and Biden would have to say like, oh, we go back to normal. Oh, everybody in the world's been, like I said about the world domination thing. Like, is it like, are you going to take your mask off when every single person in the world has been vaccinated? Like, is that what like you're waiting for?
I guarantee. So you're being overly optimistic.
Oh no,
I
but I want
guarantee
to. I want to
there's-
gain it out of them and be
I
like,
know.
what needs to happen to
Again,
satisfy your nonsense?
Again, it's hard to generalize everybody, but yes, there are going to be the people who are waiting for Fauci, waiting for Joe Biden to tell them it was okay. If Donald Trump told them it wouldn't be okay. But there's also the people who would probably answer you this and be like, "I'm never going back."
Oh, yeah. I know a person,
I don't, I'm scared now of viruses and stuff like this, and I'm never going to feel comfortable. Like, and that's sad. I feel bad for those people because
No.
they've been No, I do because they've been traumatized
Yeah.
by like the politicization, of everything and the doom and gloom sold by Fauci. There's never optimism from him ever or any of those people, and they have literally traumatized weak-minded people, sorry to say, but weak-minded people into feeling this way. And I feel bad for them.
As far as I'm concerned, no matter how this turns out, we will be in a new world eventually, however this situation turns out. And as far as I'm concerned, the people who are choosing to never go back to normal, and I understand there's psychological damage and stuff done, we don't need you in the new world. I'm sorry. That's exactly how I feel. If you want to stay in for the rest of your life, by God, go do it.
You sound like one of these evil people now.
I don't care.
Pushing the Great Reset. It's
I don't-
really the captain. He's
No,
pulling
I don't
strings
care.
behind the
Listen,
scenes.
either way this works out, there's going to be some type of a new normal, a new world, and somebody who with, that just doesn't want to do research for themselves, just blindly follows people like Fauci, just like we said, like when LA County had wear a mask in your home, there was somebody in their 700 square foot apartment living by themselves wearing a mask. We don't need you in the new world. We don't need you in this one.
Yeah, that was funny, man. You're right. There definitely was people doing that.
I'm sure it's not thousands
Listen.
of people. I don't even think it's hundreds of people. But
was at
there's
least one.
one person
Yeah.
who slept with their mask on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
it happened.
I know people. I don't know them anymore, but I know people who I could promise you probably haven't been out of the house in about a year and a half.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I made a joke on our Twitter today, and I said, where's the CDC guidance for people driving in their car alone with their mask on? Can they take that one off yet or no?
Dude, I saw something from the CDC. It was the survival rate again by age. It's all in the 99 percentile of survival. We're doing this.
To protect the old, which is the old should
But
get
the
vaccinated.
old is like 97% survival.
No, the older ones are. Well, it's not.
It's older and underlying issues.
Right,
That I
right.
understand. And I'm not saying
I
they
don't have the
shouldn't, but
numbers in front of me,
but it's still like for people under the age of 20, it's like a 99.99% survival rate.
That's why Joe
What are we
Rogan
worried
said
about?
what he said.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan said, if you're young and you're healthy and you take care of your health, I don't think you need to get the vaccine.
Listen.
Right? And he's getting
I know.
outrage.
Good.
Outrage against
But
it.
somebody like
I saw
him
a
needs to
tweet.
say it.
I saw a tweet before. I was telling him, and it was said, I know who not to listen to by the people that are going at Joe Rogan right
Yeah.
now. Like those are the people you don't want to hear from or listen to.
Yeah, it's somebody like him needs to say it. Listen, if the survival rate is 99.99 for people under the age of 20 who don't have underlying issues, okay, so Fauci is afraid for those people to risk a 0.1% of their life. But yeah, right, 0.001, I'm sorry. But at the same time, they could go buy cigarettes and smoke a carton a day.
Yeah.
They could wear a blindfold and drive down the highway. You know what I mean? Like going swimming in the ocean, your life is in like California or Florida where there's sharks and stuff. Your life, it's not 99.99. Like there's probably a greater chance of you getting eaten by a shark now in the ocean than of dying from this.
At the same time, those people could go and kill themselves from the psychological impacts this whole situation has had on them. It caused depression, etc.
Yep.
And a lot more
Overdosing in
people-
drugs.
A lot more people have killed themselves, right? I don't see the CDC declaring that a public health emergency. I see them declaring guns a public health emergency,
Yeah.
but I don't see them declaring, the recent wave of mass suicide.
On top of that, a lot of like the drugs, since there's been such a big uptick in people doing drugs because they're home all the time. Drugs have gotten crappier. They've been finding a lot more poison pills and just bad pills cut with crap and stuff like
The fentanyl and
Yeah.
shit too, because it's
yeah,
stronger.
a lot more like fakes of stuff and things like that. And because people like the cartel and the drug dealers and stuff are making so much more, they're cutting it.
Yeah.
You're now we have an opioid addiction, people
Right.
overdosing on garbage. Not a problem.
Dude, it's more of the same. Failed policy creates problems, which they then come back to you
Yeah.
to sell that
Yeah, that they're gonna fix.
They're gonna fix, right? And that's why, man, I'm going all in with the libertarians.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I mean, look, we'll see how it goes, right? But the libertarians' answer to all this is just get out of the business of everything,
Yeah.
right? The more you try and insert yourself, the more problems you make, and the more unintended consequences.
The
you
media
have.
is going to eat them alive.
We'll see.
The campaign people
We'll
are
see.
going to outpay them. But I think with a good,
That doesn't. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter.
Oh, no, I was
gonna
gonna say, 'cause, like,
we need to do your own research. Go and vote.
but I think
Right.
I think what I was going to finish with, I think if he is as good as explaining this, there's probably a lot more people that feel that way. Where like he could get the base with like limited resources, and he could get the base with negative media. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right. It's
because
just a
there
matter
might
of-
be more people that are susceptible to that.
Right. It's just a matter of people hearing that message.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, you can hear that message any single day you want for free.
Yeah.
You could go to your app on your phone, just like you could listen to me and this idiot, for free at any time you want, and you could listen to Dave Smith talk about everything
Yeah.
under the sun, right? And so I don't want to hear well, it's not fair because I didn't get CNN coverage. Who the fuck even watches that anymore, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, if you really care about this country so much, then go and spend a little bit of effort.
No,
to,
you're
like,
asking too much.
It's not, though.
I
It's
know,
not too
I know,
much,
it's
yeah.
not. In reality, it's
Do a
not.
little
But
research.
to the
Listen
regular
to a
Joe
podcast,
Schmo, yeah, they just.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So I had pulled up the census on my phone, which is pretty funny for what's happening now.
Want to make a point, and then you go into what do you got? On the
What's
census?
with the people leaving and what states are gaining?
So, it was funny because, man, like we talked about the census 100 days ago, and now the census thing just turned up. Here we go, there was a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
So it made sense for us to do this episode. But, back then, Biden made an executive order. This was part of his 100-day goals. And that executive order allowed non-citizens to be counted in the census. We, being me and you, thought that it would cause places like New York and California to get more congressional seats. We were wrong,
Yeah,
right? And,
yeah.
and we're not afraid to admit that
No.
we were wrong, right? Because it turns out the complete opposite has happened. New York and California have both lost congressional seats now because their population has gone down.
Yeah.
And my final point here is I'm laughing hard at AOC because she was a huge proponent of the census and trying to sell it because it's going to give them more power, because, et cetera, and go fill out your
Never
census.
lose the state.
And they got egg on the face, right? It didn't turn out that way. But they're blaming it in New York specifically on the fact that they missed the threshold by 89 people, like to keep that seat. So if like 89 more people would have filled out, if 89 more people would have filled out the census in New York, they'd have kept that seat.
Right.
So they're complaining, this is why you have to go fill out the census. If 89 more people had done it, we'd kept the seat, etc. No. That doesn't make any sense. People left New York State because it's a hellhole.
Yep.
And they don't like it. And they don't want to be here anymore.
It's too expensive. There's no jobs.
The rate of people who fill out the census is always going to be the same rate of people. You're going to have the people who fill it out, and then you're going to have the people who don't fill it out. So it doesn't matter that 89 people didn't fill it out that would have gotten you what you wanted. The rate of people is now below the amount of people who left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes
No,
any
it makes sense,
sense.
but I already found the 89 people that we could have had. I actually found an extra 13,000 people we could have had fill out those censuses if Governor Cuomo didn't murder all those old people in the senior citizens' homes. We would have had 13,000 more New Yorkers that can't go anywhere, that can't leave the state because they're in senior citizens' homes, and then you could have just sent it to the senior citizens and fill this out, or you don't get lunch today, whatever the hell they do in there.
Wow, dude, that was savage. I didn't even think of that.
I don't care. Fuck you, Como. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to curse on this show anymore, but
Sorry, we're not on WBOB.
I know.
today,
But
so.
I mean, that was we missed a seat by 89 people. Well, maybe if you didn't kill 13,000,
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even
You
think
could-
of it that
he
way,
could
but
have
that
killed-
is part of
He
the reason why
could've-
the census had less people.
He could have killed 12,000 people, and we wouldn't have lost the seat.
Right.
You
That's
know-
a good point. Yeah. On top of the fact, I was making the point of like, right, it doesn't matter that it was just slightly below. It's just that because there's just less people here because you guys made shit policies.
And this is...
And there's more people in Texas and
Florida
because they have, at the moment, better policies. And they're doing things better.
And it's so funny because there's always these little hints and clues that, like, what the media is telling you is not real.
Right. Not
you know what I mean? Like, oh, New York is the leader in the country for how to handle COVID.
Most cases.
Yeah.
And most deaths.
Then you look at, like, Florida. Oh, they got rid of the mask mandates. Texas. Oh, you got rid of the
least cases, least deaths.
Texas is plummeting in numbers. I think America across the board, we're at lower COVID numbers now than at, like, the start of the pandemic, and things are still locked down. But Michigan is just more mask mandates, more lockdowns, and they hold the record.
Right, you can't stop the spread. Right, and then if you ask them, like, why is that discrepancy happening, they'll blame it on people, on the average person. Well, they're not following the rules.
Yeah,
what a lazy excuse that is.
And Dana White was just down in Florida. And he's like, people are a hell of a lot happier down here getting their freedom. People, I don't know. When you live in America, you kind of like freedom, I guess.
Not everybody hates freedom.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton hates freedom.
Not everybody, dude.
But like, it's so we were talking about the vaccine before. There's no benefit in taking the vaccine because nothing's going to go back to normal if you take it or not. Here you go. Nothing's going to go back to normal. Florida and Texas are back to normal. I'll go there.
Right.
There's now benefits. And even if you want to get vaccinated, you could still get vaccinated in Texas and Florida. Right. So now you can move there. Things could go back to normal. And if you decide to get vaccinated, you still can.
Right.
Like, why would you not want to go?
Even Joe Rogan said, I believe the vaccine is safe, and I think you should go get it. Yeah. Right? That was what he said. Ron DeSantis has said that, too. So has Republicans. So has Trump.
Yeah.
I think Trump got vaccinated.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Trump's told people to get the vaccine.
I think he got vaccinated. He just didn't make a big spectacle of it. Yeah.
This is the thing, like I was saying, like, everybody held Republicans accountable for everything for 4 years. But, like, you don't want to hold Whitmer accountable because obviously her method is not working, but you'll demonize DeSantis. You'll edit a 60-minute interview of him to make him look bad, but his policy's working.
Right. People vote with their feet, dude. You know,
and I'm glad they got more senators because now isn't it going to shift the House before the 2022?
Maybe. I don't know how.
We need to do our research.
We need to do our research on that because even you were asking me before, like, whose seat gets lost?
Yeah,
like someone who's.
How do you just start campaigning tonight? Like, I'm going to be the new senator of Texas. Like,
and New York is losing one seat. Is it going to be AOC's seat?
That would be poetic justice.
Right,
yeah.
I said poetic justice. That's the thing because she fought so hard for the census thing.
I have a funny feeling somebody like will step down, like someone old and like that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, I
don't know. Maybe here we're just guessing here.
Yeah,
but maybe it has
I don't
to
know.
do. With,
I don't want to make any judgment.
Maybe the district itself's population, like if maybe like the district that went down the most in population is the one that loses a seat or something. You know what I mean?
That wouldn't be a bad way to.
Like AOC is like D14, which is like Queens.
So if now
Bronx,
D14 is empty,
if that area lost the most amount of people, maybe it will be hers.
You think she would just go back to bartending?
No, she'll probably run president or something.
Yeah, she would. This is just the beginning for her. But I mean, this is what it's funny to see like their plans backfire on them. You wanted the census,
but
and now
the goalposts have moved. They're already blaming normal people.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't fill out enough paperwork.
Well,
it's your fault, not ours.
Of course, they're gonna project their anger on their subjects.
Yep.
Yeah.
God forbid we project our anger.
Them. So it happened on January 6th.
We project our anger on them. They'll show up at your house in California and arrest you for saying bad, mean tweets about them.
Saying your answer was underwhelming.
Yeah. It's all right. I mean, that was basically, unless you have any other points.
No.
We already talked about the border wall, and I thought how absolutely pathetic it is that Biden is not using rebuilding the border wall as like a token to the MAGA people.
They don't want the MAGA people support. You know, I mean.
No, you're right.
They don't want it.
They've already decided.
Why would they want the people they're calling domestic terrorists, support?
Yeah,
why give them anything?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, wait. One of the last points we'll talk about before we sign off. Trump. I have the first point. Hold on a second. Scroll all the way up to the very top.
Trump what?
Trump made the peace deal in the Middle East.
Yes, and
There was, amazingly no new wars under Trump. And what did we say? Where is it? Off the bat, he started sending troops back overseas, and on top of it, he has negated Trump's May 1st deadline.
Right.
And so now, come May 1st, there's going to be a problem, and there's going to continuously be problems until September 11th. And like we've said 100 times, we have a big receipt on this one.
Oh yeah, we got. I like the way you put that. We have a big receipt
because it's going to be too dangerous to pull out, and the forever war is going to continue.
Yep. Where is it? I have it. I shared this on our Instagram story today, and it says new Afghanistan could be taken over by the Taliban or descend into civil war when the U.S. withdraws troops by the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken admits. If you're not aware of what the Secretary of State is, that's our chief number one foreign diplomat.
Yeah.
Outside of the president himself. So you have literally the second most important foreign diplomat in our government saying, well, if we leave, it's going to be bad, I don't know.
But yet they came to terms and agreed with Trump on May 1st. Like, we just couldn't keep it. We couldn't keep it.
Dude, it's that whole thing, right? Like that whole thing. This is America, right?
Yeah.
America did this shit to Native Americans forever.
Yeah.
You make a deal, and then it comes time to honor the deal, and you don't.
They took the Indian off of the land of Lake's butter. We kept the land in the lake and got rid of the Indian.
Right? Yeah, right. We're still doing it, right? Yeah, the critical race theory people are, but. If you, we said this a million times. If you're the Taliban, we're not going to follow the deal. So why are you going to follow the deal? Why are you going to wait till September 11th?
Yeah.
You're not. They're not dumb.
Yeah, they're not dumb.
They're not dumb. They're fucking. They fight wars, And like you said, they're not good people, but at the same time, they're not dumb people.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait for September 11th. It's not like they're going to be like, okay, now we're Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And we're going to.
Yeah.
Oh no. America, September 11th, and they didn't uphold the deal. Now, lock and load, boys. We're going back to war. No. They're going to start right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler alert, but just like with Falcon Winter Soldier, when he was like, did you ever ask why they become terrorists?
Right.
Because you are implementing something that has angered them so much, they want to kill you.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That's a good point to end. The next thing we're doing is Falcon and Winter Soldier doing review.
Yes.
That's going to be a good one because it didn't turn out the way we thought it would, and it's political.
No, yeah.
It was great. We'll probably have that out, I'd say, on Monday.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Look out for that.
We're good?
We're good.
All right. Oh, wait. What's Biden's report card?
Oh, shit. I'll give him a C.
Yeah, I'm going to give him like an E.
That's not even a grade.
I know.
Captain would give somebody an E. I'll give him a C because, yes, most of the stuff was horseshit, but there was like 2 or 3. I'm giving him my report card based on like how many items me and you covered. We can't talk about everything because it's impossible. There's so many things. So my report card will be a C based on our topics we talked about before. Like, say if we had 10 topics, I had 3 positives for Biden out of 10. So that's like a C.
I'm going to give him a D just because, he got the $1 trillion stimulus package, but, things are good that he sent the money to, but there's also a transfer of wealth. You know what I mean? Like, the 100 million vaccinated, we knocked that out of the park in 42 days early. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't feel, and he didn't come through on the schools. If he came through on the schools, I wouldn't be giving him a D. I'll tell you that. But like nothing even changed. Like nothing even started to change for the schools. You know what I mean? So I'm giving him a D. I feel like a lot of these were just set the bar low so you could knock it out of the park.
Yeah. To be clear, also again,
and
this is
also I'm sorry. And also, I don't think he's going to do anything for the next 100 days. Probably, he's done working for the rest of the 8 years.
He's going to throw logs on the fire. Although it's summertime now, but I could see him still doing it.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, again, I'm giving him a C based on our like 10 topics. If I'm gonna give him a grade on his presidency, so far it's gonna be like a Z.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make up my own letter grade.
Yeah.
So that's that.
All right, cool. Doom Nation, thank you as always. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check us out wherever Trump is banned on social media. Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube is @2DoomMen. Instagram is @2DoomMen_podcast. And you can listen to us wherever major podcasts are heard.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Check us out also on 990wbob.com. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/2DoomMen.
Adios, Doom Nation.
Later.